Green Bay is a small town, only 100,000 people. Those 100,000 people may be different in many ways, but there's one thing that brings them all together: the Green Bay Packers. In Titletown, the blue-collar city only knows hard work, tailgating, championships, but more importantly, they know family.
We have a saying in this town: faith, family, and the Green Bay Packers are all that you need. Sanjay and I grew up in Green Bay. You could say that we are Green Bay, or even better, the voices of Green Bay. We bring a local feel of Packer fandom to a worldwide audience.
Friendship, family, and football.
Ladies and gentlemen,
This is the Freezer Podcast. We are back. This is the Freezer Podcast, where we bring you a local field Packer fandom to a worldwide audience. I'm your host, Sanjay, and alongside me, like always, is Fred and Matt. And we are live here in our own studios, brought to you by Game On Wisconsin. And boys, we happen to be 12-3. Hello.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're 12-3, and it definitely feels good to be 12-3. I mean, some of us, thought otherwise, but it's okay. It's okay. I mean,
Man, good. Why don't you delve into that there, fucking negative Nancy there with your? What'd you predict for that game again?
I thought we'd lose. Little 40 burger.
But you just the other side, right? Because you picked them to score 40, not
hey, no. This is good. You know what? I'll eat the crow like I always do.
Right now.
I've always
serve it up.
Owned up on my bets. I've always done what I've done. And, do I look like an idiot today? Sure. I'm okay with it. But you know what? In fact, I think you guys should all thank me. You know why? Because I've given this team a level of standard and criticism and expectations. I put this team on a pedestal. Okay. So when I think that we suck against the Jaguars or the 49ers or the Panthers, and I'm thinking, you know what we could use? We could use some motivation from the brown guy in Sherwood, Wisconsin. That's what I'm thinking when I make these picks. So when I do this and I say we're going to lose, I'm expecting greatness. I'm expecting, hey, let's get the better version of the Green Bay Packers out, because then we proved me wrong. But then we also show the Green Bay Nation, the Packer Nation, look, we are a for real team. And that is the first time, Fred, you talked to me about this before. And if one of our fans can name a moment or name a date of a time, and maybe Matt can, because he's an encyclopedia.
Yeah, I was thinking Matt could.
If you can find a time where we have played all four quarters to the extent of what we did, minus a 40-some yard run by Ryan Tannehill, we basically held this team to a touchdown. I mean, I know that was still a touchdown too, but I'll eat the crow. Yeah, that was a stupid pick. But in the end, I think I did us some service, and we rose to the occasion. We proved me wrong. Even it's like Aaron Rodgers was talking to me in his press conference, because he's people were wondering when we were going to beat a good team. I laid it on a freaking platter for Aaron Rodgers and the offense, and also for the defense. So we're 12-3. We have an ability to get the number 1 seed against our friendly foes, the Chicago Bears, in their house, where Rodgers has basically owned them in this kind of moment. And let's just get our thoughts here, Matt. 12-3. It's against a big opponent. I just mentioned it just a second ago. First full game that I can remember in a long time where we played 4 full quarters.
Yeah, this was kind of the benchmark game we had all been waiting for. I mean, everybody had this game circled on the calendar, early in the season, once kind of we saw these two teams' trajectories going. And really, with the national audience inside everybody watching the Packers performed. And I saw somewhere they were 6-0 in primetime this year, which is awesome because they're definitely exercising some demons here. Normally when they're on national TV at night, we've all seen some stinkers, man. But this was awesome. This was from start to finish. It was a great game. You had the Titans, a little resurgence there. Where were Fred? Well, we didn't highlight ours because we were right.
Ignore your mom.
I didn't. Sorry, Mom. We can talk about that.
Go ahead,
but yeah,
no.
So it was the performance, right? I mean, this is what you want to see one game go in the regular season, particularly when you're trying to wrap up that number 1 seed. I think the Packers made a statement. I think that they said, "Hey, look, we're the class of the NFC, and if you want to come and go to the Super Bowl, you're going to have to come play here in this house." And we've made some conversation about how they played at Lambeau this year, but as of late, guys, they've looked phenomenal. And this game to me was it. I wanted to see this. We saw it. I have a lot of confidence right now in this team. And I'm like, can we please get to Sunday? I want to wrap this up and I want that number 1 seed and I want to bring anybody here because I think at this moment, if they play how they played on Sunday, they're going to be going, man. I got a good feeling about it.
I think it's absolutely incredible that we are going to be looking at back-to-back 13-3 seasons.
Yes.
Under the first 2 years of a new head coach with an aging, not so good quarterback anymore, and an offense with no weapons, and a defense that just seems to, no defensive coordinator and any. It's a testament to this team. It's a testament to the players on this team. And I'm going to shout out my father-in-law here because I sat down last night with him. We had a ton of conversations about this team and everything about it. And the one thing that I kept coming back to, and, we've talked about it a little bit in previous shows and things like that. But the thing that I've loved about this team so much and the way that it's constructed, and a shout out to Gutekunst and everybody that's come before him, even the dreadful Ted Thompson, which most people will kill if they had the chance, is that when they construct these teams and they go after free agents, they don't go after free agents, the people that they assemble to put in that locker room are good guys who are willing to take the time to better themselves and the team and not just look solely at themselves. You look at some of the past players who've come through here and have gone on to other positions. They've said, man, it's just different when you go other places. They don't care about the team. They don't, so sometimes, do we not make the sexy pick? Sure. Do we not make the big splash in free agency? No, but we've assembled a squad that is ready to play for each other and they're having fun. It's great. It's that boyish charm fun again. And we're seeing it on the field. And to Matt's point, you brought up the fact of we are the cream of the crop in the NFC. Sir, I will challenge that and say I think we are the cream of the crop in the NFL. And I don't think there's any team out there right now that can play better than us. Huh?
Do you see the Bills last night?
I'm not worried about the Bills. I'm not worried about the Bills.
I'm not saying we would only see them.
There's two teams in the NFL that have any sort of level of potential greatness here, and it's the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. I think the Buffalo Bills are great. I love the organization. I think they're like the Packers of the East on that regard. But the truth of the matter is, we're still talking about a young team. We're talking about a quarterback who, as if I recall, last year in the playoffs, freaked out and threw the ball over his shoulder in a play that no one will ever be able to understand. So when the moment comes, let's just put them in a Super Bowl for fun, okay? And we got Josh Allen going against Aaron Rodgers, the biggest stage of his life, the biggest everything. I'm not going to put my money on Josh Allen.
Rodgers going against our defense. Let's just be honest here. But he's taking some strides. Matt tweeted it out today. Has he risen to the point where you can put him in this echelon of elite quarterbacks in the league? I mean, I love them with the Bills, but I'm just saying.
I'm not in no way, shape, or form am I hating on the Bills. I'm super jacked for them. I'm excited watching them. The point of the point is that when we're really talking about a team that is dynamite, that is it. Gary McDonald is my guy, dude.
Do I need to do a Scottish accent here?
No. Please do, because your accents are always spot on.
I don't. I'm not,
You don't even know what a
one of
Scottish accent sounds like.
So
Scottish accent.
Oh gosh. Quick note about
Gary,
Gary is I've been friends with Gary for a long time on Facebook, and I used to wake up very early to go to my job, and Gary was always like 3 beers in by the time I get up to go to work, and I was
just giving you inspiration for later.
Yeah, man, I loved it. So
that accent.
Yeah. Well, I want to go back to Fred's point about the team, right? It's almost like the front office and the coaching staff knows more than we do and has a vision and knows how to execute on it. And then us schlubs at home, armchair Monday morning quarterbacks come in and go, that was bad. I mean, I'm guilty of doing that all year long. I mean, I don't know there are many more people amongst us, at least, that were more vocal about, not drafting a wide receiver, and whatever. And then AJ Dillon's out, running over people and looking terrific. So I think it maybe was Colin Coward, who I have a love-hate relationship with, but he made great points. I think it was in some rant he had today or yesterday after the game, just about how Green Bay's getting it right and the front office is right, and they're vindicating themselves by how the defense, we'll get there in a sec, but I mean, look at the draft picks and the free agents they've brought in have all, are starting to work or panning out. So my guess, I'm learning too, even as a 34-year-old fan who's been watching football, diehard fan my entire life, I just take a step back. One, appreciate, the structure we have and their dedication to us winning, and two, the fact that it is panning out and we are pulling for and getting to watch a team, guys, that is just competitive and they're having fun and they're together and they're one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the league. So I just enjoy this next month. Whatever happens, but it's been a fun year, and I'm just super excited to get to the playoffs. I mean, I'm ready. I'm ready.
We wanted to say, hey, everybody, thank you so much for joining. We have a huge crowd tonight. That's so awesome. JB, Brianna, Gary, JJ, Neil. We have a lot of people in the chat, but even in our show that watches, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us for an hour. We didn't have the Jamal Williams show today, but now you get at least 1 hour of some Game On Wisconsin shows, and that's us, the Freezer Podcast. So thank you so much. You see our little handles here. You know where to follow us, so definitely hit us up on Twitter. But
John,
let's just put it this way. Let's start with the offense first. I think we know. The greatness of 12 and 17 is unmatched. I know I just mentioned Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. They got a nice thing going over there in Buffalo, but this thing right here is just a thing of beauty. It sometimes puts a tear to my eye because it's just so they make it look easy, obviously, but when you watch it live and then you see what it's doing to this whole team, the city, the fans, it really just makes you think, wow, we are watching something that we may never get to see again. Forget the Super Bowl, forget the playoffs. Just this season alone, the chemistry and the things that Aaron Rodgers is doing with Devontae Adams, we may never, ever see this kind of play ever again. And we're watching it live, so soak it in. And, there's obviously some history that's going to be made, hopefully next week, this Sunday against the Bears for Devontae in some really, really historic company. So, offense, guys, I think I know Brianna threw a question out here, and we'll answer this with the offensive talk. But big day for AJ Dillon, obviously big day for Devontae Adams. Quiet day for some of the other people, which that's not a problem. But obviously, this is just the magnitude of our offense of like, okay, you pick your poison. What do you want? Do we want to go to the tight ends today? Do we want to go to the receivers today? Do we want to just feature Devontae? Here we go. What do you guys think about this offense?
Well, I'll let Fred jump in here because I know I've been chatting up a bunch, but I just wanted to say, like, to that point that, we all, went through the McCarthy area and he had that plethora of receivers. They went like 1 through 6. Any one of those guys was like a legit starter on the team. Right. And so we kind of apply that logic to this team. Like, how are they getting it done with just Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones and one other guy? Like we think that they need this big cabinet full of, this arsenal, and they are making it work with those guys and then some role players. I mean, it's phenomenal what they've been able to do. And to Devontae Adams' stats, I mean, he is blowing, record books up through 12 and a half games. He's not even going to play a full, like, regular 16-game stretch. So, what we're witnessing is historic, and I don't think we'll even fully appreciate it maybe till the season's even over.
Yeah, I don't even know how to put it in words, man. Like, it's super gnarly to watch. It's super exciting. when you say historic company, I mean, you're talking some seriously historic company, with Don Hudson, Sterling Sharp and his potentials. And then you look at just guys like Jordy Nelson and Donald Driver. I mean, maybe not the Randy Mosses and the Jerry Rices of the world, but we're talking about guys who put up big records in one of the oldest franchises in the history of the game. So what he's doing in a small amount of time, I mean, this isn't even a full season, and he's putting up these kind of numbers. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It looks unfair. It makes you wonder, what it could have been if it would have been a full season or a full career that way, but we're not going to go there. It's really fun to watch. And I love watching this offense kind of find different dynamics and different wrinkles within it. So I'll go to Brianna's question real quick here, because it is a good question. And I think it's something that everyone's talked about. And that was, having AJ Dillon's performance, does that just put everything to bed and here's the future? That would seem like it, right? That would be probably the ultimate wish. It's financially makes more sense. It puts to rest everybody hating on the draft picks. However, one game, I can't. Let's see it for another 2 or 3 games. Like, give me a couple more. Now, there's absolute. I'm 100% do not expect AJ Dillon to have the exact same game next week against a much more intense Chicago Bears defense. However, if AJ Dillon gets 15 carries and he rushes for 75 yards and a touchdown, I would say against that defense, I would say it's probably pretty safe to feel like that is the direction they are going to run with. And then when we talk about it financially, we talked about this before the show. It's going to be very hard to lock up Aaron Jones with Rosenhaus and everything going on. So with Jamal Williams, AJ Dillon, we're talking about a much, much cheaper situation, and it still is good. When you think about it, if you don't sign Aaron Jones, guys, are you having a massive drop off at the production level at running back? You still have AJ Dillon, and you still have Jamal Williams probably. So you're not like, okay, Aaron Jones is gone, we have nothing. There's still a lot of talent there,
right? It's not.
And Aaron Jones is a special player, but how do you make that work in the budget?
Well, I think, Matt, I think to answer that question, it makes a thing for our huge host of our other show. What does he bring? Because that's basically his role, right? He's the little bit more aggressive back. He hits you hard. He's going to be a downhill runner, right? That's basically what Jamal Williams is, right? And then this show of the AJ Dillon show that comes out last night or Sunday night, that really does change. I mean, again, it was only one night. Let's not get crazy, but at the same time, this is what you've been prepping this kid for is winter, is January.
We've said it all season.
Quad 5,
I remember this, and you guys probably remember this too, and maybe a little bit different of a situation, but I feel like what happened with AJ Dillon in this game made the front office and the coaching staff go a little bit of a sigh of relief. Like, okay, this guy can do something. Now it's one game, of course. It reminded me of when, in a way, not a whole way, but a way, that when Aaron Rodgers got in the game against the Cowboys back in like 2007, when Favre went out with a concussion. And remember, he looked like shit every time he came in the game. But when he went in that game, he looked like what he looks like now. And the whole fan base was like, oh, okay, maybe we'll be okay. So I feel like if whatever, Dillon's performance kind of made the front office at least give him a little bit of ease of mind that they could have something there. I think if he walks, I think that might be likely what happens. They'll lose the explosiveness because he's such a dynamic player that can house call at any play. I think that they can find production with other guys and they can move guys around and try to, make up for his loss. I think that they could adjust to it. LaFleur is a good enough play caller schemer to make it work. I just don't envy that position, having to make that call of letting him walk, because it's, he's such a focal point of the offense.
You never know. Be hopeful. What did I say about all those other times when you're hoping for a free agent or a trade or anything like that? Packer fans should still be hopeful. Even if he signs Drew Rosenhaus as his agent, we've seen Giannis stay with the team that he probably shouldn't even stay with. Maybe he should have gone and taken money from a better team. Like, players want to play in a situation that feels right to them.
It's a winning team.
In the best situation possible. What are you going to do? Go to the Jets? Get the Le'Veon Bell deal? He's got to think of this too. Like, you look at all the situations around the league of playoff teams, they probably already have the running back situation already figured out, and they probably don't want to spend the money on him because they know he's a running back. So the market, and if you look at what's happened with Todd Gurley, you look at with Zeke, you look at, Kamara might be the exception, and Christian McCaffrey might be the exception, but he's got hurt all year. This is why you don't pay running backs all that kind of money, and you've seen it across the league, and that can scare teams. Now, does Drew Rosenhaus understand that? Probably not, because he gets what he asks
He's about
for.
The money. He's about the money.
But in the end, Aaron Jones needs to do what's right for him, and we'll respect whatever he chooses. But let's just be, as Packer fans, hopeful that maybe, look, this is probably the best situation he probably has in front of him as a contract and as a, as an outlook of his next 3 to 4 years of his career. Because we know running backs are pretty, short term with their careers, unless you're AP, I guess. But let's just enjoy what we have right now. We'll figure that crap out in March. And, if he stays, he stays. If he goes, whatever.
I want to hope he gives the hometown discount and wants to stay here. Like, he comes from a small town. He's a family guy. He's not like this, glitz and glam kind of dude. So he really fits in the culture with the Packers and in here in Green Bay. So I hope that counts for something. But like you said, Sanjay, he's going to have to do what he's got to do to help his family out. And if that's going for what the big payday is, can you really blame him? And if he wants to stay here and win more rings and compete, we'll be here for it. I hope he comes back, but I won't hold my breath right now.
So I would be remiss if we don't talk about the offensive line again, because here's the thing. This created almost 200 some yards of rushing for us on Sunday night. It created a beautiful pocket for Aaron Rodgers to basically run left for about 10 yards and then run right for 15 yards for a gain of 4. It's this protection. Granted, we knew what Tennessee was. They really weren't. They weren't creating any kind of pass rush in the last few weeks, and it showed obviously. But this offensive line continually, which welcome back Corey Linsley, another guy that we could obviously talk about for minutes about who, if we should be bringing him back. A big impact right away. You didn't hear his name called because you know what? You didn't need to, because he's stout right there at center. Everything was right back as a clicking. We did lose Ricky Wagner in the game, which that sucks because he's had a really great, month and a half. He's had a great season, but it's just plug and play for these guys. Literally, who's ever the next guy who steps in, literally just puts in work. So offensive line, and we have a nice little special thing for you guys. So stick around for the entire show. As far as we have a little special thing for you guys. But offensive line, guys, what do you guys think about this offensive line?
It continues to be incredible. We've just got done talking about the other side of the incredible, and that's, Devontae and Aaron Rodgers. But this offensive line, it's remarkable what they're doing. It seems like everyone's just kind of on the same page. They're working well together. They're fluid. Their movements are great. Guys that I've looked at, in the sense of, Billy Turner, I guess I was wrong a little bit about him. I'm not going to get too deep into that.
Okay to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong.
It's not a big wrong. He's just played really well. He's really seemed, he still has his issues.
One Punch Man from anime.
He's a one punch man. He's had some issues. He still has some heavy feet sometimes. It still doesn't slide all the best, but he still makes the play, and he makes the block when he needs to. And when he's available, he's there. So Corey Linsley is one of the best players out there that we just never talk about. And I've said it for years. I think the center position is one of the most underrated positions. So I think you got to stick with him. I think you got to consider that as a signing option. Bakhtiari is just remarkable all the time. And then the Ricky Wagner, that's hate as much as you want on Gutekunst, man, but that is a absolute steal of a signing. And I don't think anyone in this room or this chat would have said, yeah, we would have been just fine with Rick Wagner.
I'm with you 100% on everything you just said, Fred. And not only that, this
zero penalties, guys. Zero penalties too.
Yeah, this position group, guys. They may be the best offensive line in football. I think they're underrated. I think nobody talks about them enough. We talk about them in town here, but nationally, if the Packers make a Super Bowl run and do get to Tampa Bay, that position group is going to be one of the 2 or 3 reasons why we made it there. They are keeping Aaron Rodgers upright. They're giving him time to read the defense and find the open guy. Not only that, they're creating holes for the running backs. This group is a huge reason why we're 12-3 and may end up 13-3 and number 1 in the NFC. So it goes without saying, it's a kind of like a thankless job up front because you're not catching touchdowns or getting all the yards, but they're a huge reason why we are at where we are at. And if they're going to keep going, it's going to be because those guys are playing how they're playing.
And you're one guy, you're a Linsley re-signing away from having that offensive line together for at least 3 more years. And that's impressive in itself.
Absolutely. Exactly. It's hard to keep those guys. I mean, look at Dallas. Yeah. It's hard to keep a full offensive line of that kind of caliber together. So you're right. Real quick, I mean, I know we focus so much on the offense because it's such a beautiful thing to watch when it's all clicking. We got to give the credit to the defense too, man. Yes. They played like monsters out there, and they were flying. They were, I mean, if we don't have the 2 best safeties in the league as a tandem, I don't know who has them.
Welcome to the show, Darnell Savage, man. Absolutely. Thank you for showing up. I've been on the Savage train. He just has this look about him, and when the way he flies around the field, it's very swaggerous. It's very cool. It's quiet swagger. It's cool swagger. But I've just been like waiting, like, gosh, I know he's just ready to break. I know he's ready to go on a spree of interceptions. It's got to come. I know we all root for Jair to have this interception here or there. Let's be honest, ain't nobody throwing Jair's way. Ain't nobody doing it.
I wish we could throw Matt's retweet. What was it? Just say it. Just say it.
What was it again? I forgot.
The Jair stat.
Oh, he's only given up 1 pass more than 25 yards. That's crazy. Yeah. And think about some of the receivers they've seen this year.
Well, you look at Corey Davis. I think they said that in the last 2 games, he had like 3 touchdowns, 246 yards, like 16. Yeah. And he had no catch. Like, it's just Jair's unbelievable. Another one of those positions where you're like, well, I don't hear his name a lot. Well, that's good. But Savage is, I think, going to be that guy. And I think I've always envisioned him being that guy. I apologize for throwing these names out because it's such an unfair comparison, but I look at him sort of in the regards of like the Ed Reed, and not with the ability to hit, but the ball hawking ability that I think he can kind of happen. And then his speed is just fantastic. So I'm not saying he's going to be Ed Reed. I'd put Ed Reed on a cloud 9 somewhere way far away. But I really like what he's doing. And then I also really am enjoying seeing some of those not so productive players early on in the season starting to make plays. Preston Smith, I thought, had a really good game, and it wasn't with sacks and things like that. It was making big tackles against Big Boy Henry. And I thought he stayed home a lot, and it was finally nice to see him kind of thrive in his position.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to give love to Kevin King because, you know what? I know we probably won't see him ever again after this year. I mean, maybe we might, never know. But this guy actually has been doing pretty good. I mean, he's a willing tackler, especially in the cold. That, you know, cornerbacks sometimes don't like to tackle, but he does, and he steps up a lot. And I really do think that, you know,
nobody. Sorry.
You know, here's the thing. I mean, AJ Brown is a top receiver. I mean, he definitely is a guy that's making his name known in the NFL. You're not going to hold him to 0 catches. I mean, he's going to make plays, but if Jair's holding up someone else on lockdown over on his island, the balls have to go somewhere. And you know what? AJ Brown didn't have a touchdown. So I'm going to give a lot of credit to Kevin King. Obviously, it helped with the 2 studs in the back, kind of covering, you know, the field in the back there. But you know what? This was just a beautiful performance from the entire team. I mean, they needed to be all together against, you know, King Henry. I mean, yes, did he get 98 yards? Yes, he did, but he did not impact the game at all. So I don't want to keep hearing this. You know, we gave up still 98. That was one of the best 98 yards I will ever see of a guy that probably could be an MVP or definitely an offensive player of the year candidate that I've ever seen. So I will take that and run with it and move on. Because you know what? We're not going to face another Derrick Henry again. We'll face Kamara maybe, but we're not going to see Derrick Henry again. So we just played against probably the best back in the league. I mean, I know Kamara probably is, but in the end, it was good. It was. Go ahead, Fred.
Well, I was going to say, Kamara, you know, Kamara is a pass catcher. In terms of ground and pound, Derrick Henry is like the ultimate. Him and Dalvin
did
Cook.
You see Kamara this week?
He looked great.
Kamara wasn't doing it in the pass. He was doing it all in the run.
He finally had a running game. You're right. But guys, we have to give some love, not just us. All Packer fans need to give some love to Mike Pettin in this defense. I mean, they have been the punching bag the whole year. They've been the one thing everybody complains. Yeah, they've been the thing that everybody's been complaining about. But let's be honest here. The last month or so, they've been really good. And Sunday night against the Titans, I thought was their coming out party for the year. I mean, 16 weeks in, great, but better late than never. I mean, this was an excellent performance. I mean, everybody from Packer fans to NFL fans thought Derrick Henry was going to run for 200 yards and just make us look, like middle schoolers out there. And he, like you said, Sanjay, was a non-factor, and he had 98 yards, but I think like 40 or so of them came in the fourth quarter when they were down 33-14. I mean, I think he had like 58 some yards midway through the third quarter. So he really didn't pose a threat because they took him out of the game. They tackled well. He didn't have a run longer than 10 yards. I mean, and this guy's been ripping off 40, 50, 60 yarders all year long.
All year.
And our guys
didn't throw anybody. He didn't throw Kevin King.
No, they were fearless tackling him, and that's what you want to see going into the playoffs, is that type of aggressiveness and just attention to detail. I mean, they went all out, and it paid off for them. I mean, that should give us all a giant confidence boost going into the playoffs, because we're not going to see another running back like Derrick Henry now that the Vikings are out of it. There's no Dalvin Cook in the playoffs. I mean, Alvin Kamara is probably the best one remaining. Maybe if Dallas squeaks in with Zeke, but he's had a pretty poor year. I just am just thrilled and impressed with what they've been able to do. And to mention again, like you guys said, a couple of these guys stepping up. I mean, the linebackers coming through. I mean, the defensive line toughening up. The safeties maybe playing better than any safety duo in the league. Jair Alexander is going to be an all-pro. So this defense, guys, is coming together at the exact moment you want it to. And I again, like I keep saying, can't wait to keep going forward.
You know what? That's cool too. Like, I'm going to just point out one other thing with that is that last year we were so hot for a good majority of basically week 1 to week 13. We were so good. And then we kind of had we had a slip up here or there, but we were hot so early. I love the idea of us getting super hot right now. I love the idea of our if it's week 16 where our first real deal game goes down. Cool. Sorry for the rest of y'all, because you're all gonna die. Because
no one remembers Preston Smith's touchdown, right? No one remembers that against the Redskins of week 2 or whatever that was. No one gives. I mean, I remembered it, but no one gives a crap about week 2. So I'll take week 16, week 17 against a top-notch defense or offense, and we make a big play.
Yeah.
All right. So in other terms, I mean, if we're done with this Tennessee game, it was great to beat them. It's great, and they're out of here. Bye. And now we're on to Chicago. But before we do that, you know what? We have special things that we like to do out here on the Freezer Podcast. If you don't listen to our intro, which I think you should because it's so awesome, we always talk about friends and family here. This is what this show is. We are a family. The three of us are a family, and we think of you guys as friends and family because you know what? You guys give your hour of your life a week to us, which is amazing, and we cannot thank you enough for that, obviously. But we always talk about family here, and this is what we do, and we will always do that. So never think that we're going to be about ourselves or anything like that. We're a big giant family. So we have a nice special little thing here that Fred would like to do, and I'm going to put this on him, and he will show you what he wants to show you.
Yeah. So quick little prelude to it. Today's a great day. Today's a day that is my grandpa's birthday. The man I was named after, the man that I named my son after, a huge part of my life. My guy, man, he's my idol. He's my mentor. He's a person I looked up to. He's everything that I am today. And it's not because I can walk around and say that Fuzzy's my grandpa, but it's the things he taught me, ways of being with people, making people smile, making people happy. It's something I teach to my kids today. I teach it to Charlie daily. Make people happy, make people smile. And I don't think anyone did that better than my grandpa. So on his birthday, I could sit here and probably talk about it, but I'll probably start tearing up, and that would just not be manly enough for me. So I'm going to play a 5-minute video. It's his partner in crime, Jerry Kramer. It was from his funeral, but I don't think that anyone ever in the history of my life has summed up who my grandpa was better than Jerry did on this exact 5 minutes. So enjoy it. If you don't care for it, go take a piss break. But if you do, you might want to grab some Kleenex.
It's gonna be awesome.
Stick around, maybe grab some Kleenex. I'm sure my mom will be sobbing.
It's impossible to explain the relationship we have with a guy for 55 years. Your family, your brother, your pal, your confidant, so many different things, so many different moments, scrimmages, games. Remember having when Fuzz had a bad knee. One year we were out at two-a-days, and it was about 100 degrees, and the humidity was about 98 degrees, and at that time we couldn't drink anything. Water was bad for you, and Gatorade hadn't been invented yet. And once in a while at halftime at games, they'd give us a quarter of an orange, and you were supposed to slake your thirst with that quarter of an orange. We were out in the field, and you wear shorts and a T-shirt and lose 8, 9, 10 pounds. And Fuzz had a big bundle of ice on his knee. Fuzz, come over here a minute. Don't let the old man cut you. So we got into Fuzzy's knee bundle and had some slivers of ice. And it was incredibly good. I mean, just saved your life. Native son, born in Wisconsin, lived here from 59 on and 59 before. Native son, loved by everyone in Wisconsin that I could see, and a lot of folks out of Wisconsin. We never hugged, Mark. I mean, we never shook hands. We were huggers. I see Robbie today, and I give Robbie a hug. It's a little harder now than it used to be. But Fuzz had such an effervescence about him, such an incredibly positive attitude. I told a story recently about when he was 2 years old. He got a box of horse manure for Christmas. And he's jumping up and down and going, yippee, and isn't this wonderful, and boy, this is great, this is sensational. And somebody says, what are you so happy about? And Fuzz says, with all this horse manure, there got to be a horse around here somewhere. You know, that was him. I mean, Boyd and I were talking lunch today, and we're talking about Super Bowl I, and Boyd recounted the story to me about Fuzzy come out of the game. He was playing against a fellow named Buck Buchanan. Now, Buck was about 6'8" and about 320, and in pretty good shape. And Fuzz come out of the game, and his face mask was bent over, and his helmet was askew, and somebody said, Fuzz, how you doing with that guy? Well, you get in there and take a shot at him. He'll tear your head off. Boyd went over. They were pals, and Boyd says, Fuzz, how you doing? I'm kicking his ass. No matter what, you know, we were coming up from the rec center several years ago, and we'd been signing autographs, and a fella gave us a ride up to the back door so we could go in the back door, and he had a pickup with dark windows. And I'm sitting in the front, and I got the window rolled up, and I'm taking a breather, and I feel a little breeze on my neck, and I turn around, and Fuzzy's got the window open, and he's hanging out the window all the way to his waist, and he's going, and he is just being Fuzzy. He's just loving it. He's just having a sensational time. I don't think I've ever seen anybody. Diane, my daughter, and I were talking this morning. Dad, she says, no matter how many people were in the room, no matter how busy Fuzzy was, when I walked into the room, he came over and gave me a hug. Made me feel like the only person in the room. He had a way to light up your life, to light up the room. We're going to miss him.
Big shout out, big happy birthday to him. Miss him dearly. Everyone that's ever been in any close quarters to the guy, knows it. He lit up a room, always was happy. And in a world where we are surrounded by so much hate and anger and negativity, I go to him a lot to find that peace.
And Fred, that I've never seen that clip, but that was really cool of Jerry to say those words. And I was in Sanjay. You can probably attest to this. Born and raised here in Green Bay. My parents and their parents were alive during the '60s era and know that very well. And Fuzzy, he was always when people talked about the Packers here in the '60s era, his name was one of the one or two that would come up all the time. So even though I wasn't related to, I always felt like I knew Fuzzy and how a wonderful a person he was. So really, really cool tribute to him and happy birthday, Fuzz man.
Absolutely, man. I don't wear jerseys on this show. I hate doing that. So the only jersey I'll probably ever wear in this show is this jersey. So happy birthday, Fuzz. I hope you're enjoying this show every Tuesday, watching your grandson just kill it. It said when you're making fun of me. I don't like that. When your grandson's making fun of me, that's fucking stupid. I hate that.
But that's the fun.
You would approve.
Hey, well, you know what? We always have to do this because you know what? We always have to have a hero of our game. So you know what we always do. So get ready for this. All right. Well, this is a really spitball hero of the game here, but you know what? It actually is fitting because you know what? We, as a three, always agree on everything in life.
Always,
never.
In this case,
history of life.
There's one person that can get the hero of the game in this case, and you know what? I'm gonna just throw this out there because we go nowhere without him, and I'm gonna say the hero of the game is Matt LaFleur. And that's because this is the guy that came in here 2 years ago, changed the whole face of what we've ever known about Green Bay and the Packers. And last night was just revenge game, whatever you want to call it for him. Like obviously there was his old team, whatever that is. I mean, that doesn't really play in the minds of coaches, but it was a great thing for him to kind of show the entire nation of of Packer Nation, that look, I'm going to be here for a long time. I'm not going to give you bullshit. I'm not going to give you drama. I'm just going to give you excellence. And that's all the Green Bay Packers are ever measured on is excellence. He knew that. His press conference when he came in was, I looked in the hallways and I saw all the teams. I saw all their photos. And you know what? He wanted to change some things. He wanted to redecorate here and redecorate there. But you know what? Excellence was the guys that did it before you and showed you how this was done here in Lambeau Field and, in the frozen tundra. And he wanted to keep that tradition alive because in the end, we are nowhere without our traditions and our values and our morals. And he really showed that last night. He got a team to play all phases of the football field. We didn't even see JK, so that's great. So 0 punts on the day. But you know what? Even when Mason Crosby misses a extra point or gets a field goal block, this team overcame that. And the offense overcame what they thought. Everybody wrote them off. Even I did. I said, look, we just cannot play sound football at the moment. I need to see what we can do against a good team. The offense rose to the occasion. Aaron Rodgers said that on his press conference. The defense, we've been giving them crap all the time. Mike Pettin, we've been crapping on him. They stepped up. And in the end, who is the lead captain of this team? It's Matt LaFleur. So when you think about what everything else is in the NFL, what coaches are around the league, when people get fired and, what drama is going on in every organization or every locker room, just remember that we have things really good here. And remember, this guy has only lost like 6 games in his entire career. So
and
this was an easy one for me.
I love it because I mean you could always get it's like you could give it to Aaron Rodgers every week, but we just run out of things to say about him, you know. So it's kind of like LeBron with MVP in NBA. You just we know. But yeah, Matt LaFleur, man, the fearless leader of our Packers. I mean, I don't know why he cannot get the love of the national media. I mean, it's astonishing to me that, and I think it's because he has Aaron Rodgers. But I mean, when they seem to forget that they all said, well, it's not going to work. He's not going to be good for Aaron Rodgers. They're going to fight and they're going to do this and that. And it's been anything but. Aaron Rodgers, year 2, is going to win an MVP. He's got his team 13-3, potentially again. I mean, everybody thought that they were going to, we all said it. Yeah, they'll be a better team, but they'll be a worse record. No, they're lock and step where they were what they were last year. Well, we all did it. I did the same damn thing. That's how I rationalized it. So, I mean, this guy's a great strategist. He listens to his players. He consults his players. I love the fact that our front office let's be honest, it took a chance on him. He was kind of an up and comer, but he didn't really necessarily have the resume. Yeah. No, I mean, he came from a mediocre Titans offense. I mean, it's a huge leap of faith, but I mean, they saw something there and it's paying off.
And goes right back to your point you made earlier. I'm pretty sure the people in the front office and the GMs and the people up there know what they're doing.
Know what you're doing.
When we hired him, I remember exactly what I mean. I literally was sitting there and I got the message that we hired him and I was like,
who?
Wait, what? But for him to come in and, I mean, we're talking potentially 2 straight seasons of 13-3. It's very Lombardi-esque in the sense of he kind of, when Lombardi came in, they had their 1 year and then it was a complete flip around and it just became champion season. The thing about him that I think is so great is that he did not come into this organization and say, you know what, I think I'm just going to ride the coattails of Aaron Rodgers, get through that, and then kind of put my stamp on things. He came in and said, listen, we're going to flip the script, change the culture, like Sanjay said, and it needed to be done. And everybody was afraid to do it. Everybody was afraid to step on toes. Everybody was afraid that it would, it would take away from things. And believe me, I'm the person at the front of the line for the historical sense of what the Green Bay Packers are all about. My walls are covered in it. But the truth of the matter is that the historical things that have happened in Green Bay are not going to win us a Super Bowl. So what they needed to do was change the culture, change the attitude, change everything that they did. They bring in a young coach. They bring in some different guys. And it's just been incredible. I haven't seen this type of excitement. I haven't seen, even in 2010, guys, even when in 2010, when we were as good as we were, there still wasn't this type of a feeling. And I'm not saying a feeling of like, oh, we're going to win a Super Bowl, but just this brotherhoody feeling that like you really get. I mean, yeah, there was the Sea Woods and there was guys that were leading it, but it feels like it's everybody together in this one.
It is.
And that's really what's super exciting for me. And I love the way that it's put together. I love the team. And it's absolutely a shame that he gets no recognition. He didn't get it last year. He's not getting it this year. And that's just kind of the Green Bay way, man. Everybody just always seems to like want to hate. And it's fine. It's funny though, because yet the team like the New England Patriots, which would probably warrant all the hate in the world, they won't do that on national media. They're the first ones to slob. But yet Green Bay, it's like they can't do it. But I always tell Ethan, because Ethan asked me that same question a lot too. Why does nobody ever talk about the Packers? Why is everyone's talking about Stephon Diggs today? No one's talking about Devontae Adams. And I'm like, you know what? Let them sleep on us until we put number 14 in the trophy case. And then let's see how much they keep sleeping on us. Because I don't care. Stephon Diggs can have all the talk he wants. When we're putting 14 up and we're bringing the Lombardi trophy home, that's the ultimate goal. So I don't care if Skip's not talking about us or Colin's not talking about us or anyone else. It's just, let's just play the game. Let's go win us a Super Bowl.
And they love that underdog mentality. They love flying under the radar and proving them wrong.
We all we need, So that's how we roll. Hey, we got a game that we got to talk about. So we do know that it's the Bears game and it is still the Bears, but you know what? They have a lot to play for. They have basically their entire season kind of running on this. So you know what? They're going to be very motivated. I'm sure Akeem Hicks will be back for this game, so that will be a huge factor in this one. And you know what? We do too, though. It's not like we don't need to really play for nothing either. We got to play for that number 1 seed. Brianna, I know you asked it earlier. What can happen if we lose? We would need the Seattle Seahawks to lose, which, that is another tall order too. But let's just take care of business. We don't have to worry about that. Big game to this Sunday. I mean, this is, there's all sorts of different things that can happen record-wise and just achievement-wise and MVP-wise. But in the end, our sole focus should be number 1 seed.
Win the game. Win the game.
I don't care if it's 10-9. Just win the damn game.
Yeah, I don't need MVPs. I don't need records. I just want to win the game. I want to keep the momentum. I want to keep the swagger. I want to go into the playoffs the exact way that we're playing football right now, and that is at top level. Now, that being said, Chicago has always had the talent on the defensive side, and that's going to be troublesome. Montgomery has been running fantastic recently. That's concerning. Trubisky, for the love of God, please Chicago re-sign him because I would rejoice. Yeah, please just do it. I when Schefter tweeted that and was like, oh, everyone's saying that Trubisky's playing the best football of his career, really makes it difficult whether or not Chicago should re-sign him. Every Packer fan in America was like, you should re-sign him. So I'm not worried about that because Trubisky, no matter how good Trubisky's playing and even how good their defense and or run game is playing, Trubisky's always going to have that younger brother effect, really younger brother effect to Aaron Rodgers. I think as soon as he walks on the field with Aaron Rodgers, everything he knows, every shred of confidence he has completely goes out the window. So I'm not too concerned about Trubiskying anything, but their defense is always good, but yet in the last couple rounds, we've taken pretty good control of their defense.
Yeah, so we have. And this game is huge. I mean, 1 seed on the line. The Bears are fighting for their playoff lives. I mean, this is going to be must-see television, of course. The Bears, if you guys haven't noticed, all of a sudden all of their fans woke up from a hibernation they were in for 2 months, and now they're convinced, the Bears are really good. And they're going to go on a Packers 2010 kind of run. They're going to win in week 17, get in and go and do the thing. Congrats. You beat the Texans, the Jaguars, and the Vikings. I know you let all that go right to your head. But Aaron Rodgers today on the Pat McAfee show, they asked him where he loves to play, and it's outside of Lambeau, of course, and he said Soldier Field. He loves to play there. He loves the rivalry. He loves the mystique of it. And our guys know what this game means, and I think that I am expecting them to kind of continue this momentum. When you look at look at that 22-3 in December in home games. If only had this one at home, but I'm not sweating Mitch Trubisky. I mean, the Bears can go ahead and talk themselves into, he's looked great the last couple of weeks. You guys can make that mistake, re-sign him again. We can go debate that in the offseason. That's fine. But this is for all the marbles, guys. I mean, this is why you sweat and grind in the offseason and do all that shit during the summer, and you put in the work in the season to get to a game like this, to be able to get that bye week. I mean, this is massive, massive, massive. So let's get into it. Let's talk about it.
How dedicated are you guys to needing and wanting that bye week? Now, the only reason I ask you that is just because of our record coming out of byes under LaFleur has not been great. So I understand the resting. I mean, trust me, my entire life I've been, please, let's get that bye. Let's rest up. Let's game plan. But when you're 0-2 coming out of the bye, isn't that a little scary? Isn't that a little?
Well, remember last year playoffs, we had a bye. We came out and put the wood to the Seahawks.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
But I do see your point. They, the 2 seasons under the floor, their regular season byes, they haven't looked good coming back out of it. I want the bye because I think it just gets you one step closer to the Super Bowl. It's one less game you have to win. I understand. I completely get the point of maintaining your momentum and continuing that grind and not interrupting it. And unfortunately, Green Bay is not overly beat up, so it's not like we just got to have that body to get healthy. For me, it'd be more for strategy, getting to an extra week to prep for somebody, and then getting him in your house for hopefully 2 games. So I want it. I'm expecting that team. I know Aaron Rodgers has talked about it for years about getting it, so I expect them to come out and go for it.
Second question, quick, before I let you go into this, Sanjay. Do you think the Green Bay Packers will allow some fans, if there are home playoff games?
No. I think they've been pretty conservative about that. I think this 300, 500 business, I think that's kind of their, because I mean, it's not like, I guess we haven't heard about other teams around the league about if they're going to be upping their, because I guess that's obviously an element, right? But
if an NFC championship ends up coming through Lambeau,
what's your number? What's your number?
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying, do you think that they're willing to say, no, we're just going to keep it 300? I mean, you're talking historical, big time dollar bills out the window.
I don't know what they're waiting for. COVID here is really way down. It's not like it was back in October where we were like the hot spot of the planet Earth. I mean, we're back down to some pretty small levels. So it's like, if they're going to do it, it's happening at a perfect time. I hope they do it.
Or if the vaccine was coming out, like if the vaccine was starting to come out like in September and then now it was getting distributed more to the public, I would have thought that the whole like, all right, let's open the gates. I thought that would, this is just, medical Sanjay. I just feel like they want the safety of
Sanjay.
Dr. Sanjay.
The safety of, of the people first. I mean, you're right. I mean, this would be historical stuff. We may never see Rodgers in a NFC Championship game in Green Bay ever again. I just don't think Mark Murphy and the board of trustees is. I don't know if they're going to buy it.
I think we just.
And wouldn't they have made that announcement? Like
storm the castle, storm the.
I would be there. I'll be the first one.
Let's take over Cheesehead TV's house.
Yeah,
fucking run up on it with like 50 people. But what are they gonna do? Kick us out?
I think he was tweeting that he's back in New York. So if he needs house sitters, man, we'll go. Make sure and drink all his beer. That's cool.
All right, guys. Hey, it's the one moment that everybody's waiting for, and it's the time that we all get to sit down and we get to listen to Matt give his prediction.
Because everyone's tuning in to see mine. All right, guys. This is it. This is for all the marbles. I mean,
I like how you put your hat on now. Like we have 4 minutes left of this show, and then
Neil said this, and I'm a very superstitious person, so I went ahead and put my hat on to offset this comment right there. So we're good. All right. Bears, Packers, Soldier Field, Week 17. Number 1 seed on the line for the Pack. Playoff berth on the line for the Bears. We will take their best shot. We've been averaging about 30 points a week. I've been thinking about today what I'm going to do for a prediction. Of course, I'm picking the Packers. That goes without saying. I want my gut says that it's going to be a close game, a low scoring game. It could be maybe some weather. We just saw the Packers play in some weather and kick some ass. I still think we're going to put up some points. I'm going to go 31-24 Green Bay.
You said low scoring.
I said I think it's going to happen. That's what it feels like, but what I feel hasn't been happening. So I'm going to go against the grain there and say we still go to our average of 30.
Going against, I've seen you play golf, mate. Going against the grain.
Yeah, you don't.
Your putting's pretty.
It's even worse. It's worse now. It's worse now. So,
Fred Zilla.
Whew. Let me just calculate it out here real quick since we're gonna win.
He has to figure out how many touchdowns equal his score.
We were doing math today, gosh, guys.
Field goal. How does that get?
We carry the 4. All right, yeah.
3 hours later.
Yeah. I think that
that's your best accent you've ever done.
Obviously, we're gonna win. I don't see us not winning. I do think that it's probably, like you say, it probably will be a lower score, but I'm not going to predict a lower score. I'm going to go with 37-20.
Yes. Well, Sanjay didn't say anything. You didn't.
Yeah, this is like classic. This is classic lead up, like Sanjay before he does. Like, he's gonna be like, Packers are gonna win 97-4, and we're gonna be like, wait, what?
I think he's gonna go like 13-9 or something like that.
No. First off, thank you everybody that came out tonight. We have so many people in here. Everybody. I mean, Andrew, Sharon, Patty, Brett.
Hey, I got my Aunt Anita.
Yeah, I know.
Anita's up in here.
My family's coming up in force. I love it.
It honestly,
we've got a ton of people.
Show, like people, I'm telling you this right now. When we get off air, we literally sit here for 5 minutes and we're blown by like everybody that comes in this show every week. It's so cool, really. This is just a passion project. This is just three idiots talking about Packers that we love. Like that's what it is. And you guys want to hear that crap. So, it's awesome. Thank you so much. Keep coming back. We have really good stuff coming up. It's Packers Bears, man, right? This is exactly what you want. You want this on a 3:30 on a Sunday, starting the new year in 2021. And you know what? I have us winning this game, man. We got to kick the ass of the one team that we need to, start the year off on the right note, right? So, and it starts with the Chicago Bears. I mean, we need to just show them that the dominance that we really, have carried in this little rivalry, that look, your 2021 is going to be started by a loss to us, and that's just going to be what your 2021 season is going to be like even next fall. So I have us winning this game. It's going to be a 14-10 game. I did. I did.
We did say win by any means possible, so I'm not going to make fun of that.
Thank you. We did say that, right? So 14.
I'm not making fun of you. It's just such a strange. I don't know.
We need two touchdowns to Devontae Adams to get past Sterling Sharp. Oh my God. And
apologize right now.
I'm saying sorry. Okay. He needs 2 touchdowns. He's going to get those 2 touchdowns, and that's going to be our leading and go ahead score to take, I guess the season home and 13-3 and get us
and kick the Bears out of the playoffs. See you later,
Matt. What's your prediction?
I said 30. What did I say? 31-24.
Okay, 37-20.
17-10.
14-10. All right.
Hey,
kick the Bears out of the playoffs.
Exactly.
Yep.
Hey, thank you everybody that watches our show. Keep watching. We'll see you next week. For Fred, Matt, and myself, we got.
Da Bears.
Go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go.
Love you, Grandpa Fuzzy.